earlier, talent was not such a big challenge for any company. In the 1950s and 60s, you had mass production, you had most of the economy where people were in manufacturing, and talent was more or less same for every company. Talent was not a differentiator. So the greatest success of a company is when it is able to differentiate its services and products from its competitors. And talent, everybody had similar kind of talent. But with the rise of the service industry, you had different companies with having better or less capable talent. And talent became a defining aspect of a company's success or the lack of success. So, therefore, a new area of study emerged, which is known as talent management, where you have a great focus on the top performers or the best talent that you have in the company. And if you are able to develop this talent, if you are able to get good productivity out of this talent, then chances are the revenue of your company will grow significantly. So this premise is based on the Pareto equation, which says that 20% of the people will deliver 80% of the value that the company generates. So therefore, you want to focus on the top talent, on the people who are your top performers. And keeping that in mind, we had also talked about certain models of talent management. The Josh Bersin model is one of the models that we had talked about. And basically, it is a holistic approach to how we should look at talent management, beginning from the way we hire, the way we acquire talent, to the way we develop talent, the way we retain talent, the way we grow talent, and then maybe even how we exit talent. So, so the entire employee life cycle was what we were talking about. So today we will talk about the first part, which is talent acquisition. How do we acquire talent? Okay, so how do we plan and acquire talent? So that is what we will talk about today. Any questions so far? Any doubts? Any thoughts before I share my presentation with you?
Last time around, I think you had spoken about the GE thing where 750 employees were important. That's what Mr. Jack Welch mentioned.
Yeah. So so there are some companies which focus a lot on developing their top talents, and like Hitesh said that last time we had shared a quotation from Jack Welch, who was the CEO of GE for about 27 years. So he had said that I am like a gardener. I'm not the CEO, I'm a gardener, and I just ensure that the top talent is planted in the soil of GE and then they are nurtured. And if the 750 people are developed, they are given more exposure, they are developed more capability, then the company is in safe hands. And the record that GE had under Jack Welch was that every quarter it showed double-digit growth. So he said that my magic is really getting the right people, putting them in the right place, making them do the right job at the right time. That is what he said his magic was. So thanks, Hitesh, for reminding me of that. So 750 were the top leaders of GE. So now we will talk about more about how to acquire the right kind of talent. Just give me a minute. And as is always the case, in case you have any doubts, any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay. Don't wait for me to take the next break and then you're going to ask. Just ask as and when you have a question in your mind. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So manpower planning is very important because you know end of the day, ultimately, every company boils down to the number of people that you have. You can have a lot of good machines, you can have patents, you can have copyrights, you can have products, you can have very good looking balance sheets, earning a lot of money. But the bottom line for everything is, who are the people that you have who are running this company? So ultimately, though people think that HR is not that important, but truth be told, HR is the department. And if HR is given importance, if HR is part of the planning process, then your planning is going to be more accurate. So when you are talking about manpower planning, it's very important that we look at a supply analysis, which is where do I source my talent from? A demand analysis, how do I forecast a demand? Today, let's say I'm sitting in October or November, the 2nd of November, and the year is going to be closing by March. Then I have to be planning for the next fiscal. So, how do I get the numbers accurately that I will require X number of people in the next fiscal? So, that is very important, and that analysis has to be accurate. Not 100% accurate, perhaps, but accurate to a significantly high degree. Then you look at a gap analysis, that if this is the supply I'm getting, but this is the demand I have, which happens to be bigger than the supply that is available, how do I bridge the gap? Okay. And then you look at what are the solutions that I have. And here, talent and manpower could mean not just the number of people, but also the qualifications that you're looking for, the sort of people you're looking for. They could be junior, mid-level, senior, very senior, you know, could be any of those. So it's very important to understand what is the profile that I am trying to hire. So therefore, your solution analysis has to be very accurate, and the deeper you drill down, the better it is, because then you are going to be more comfortable as the year goes by. Your hiring will be more aligned to the expectations of the organization. So that's how we start. That's how the process looks like. Your organizational goals, the attrition that you have, and then what is the number of people that you need. For example, I was working in an engineering company, and it was a company which had about 5,000 employees, and the company said that we want to grow next year, we want to grow about 15%. That was the ambitious growth target. So to get a growth of 15% on revenue on top line, how much of manpower would we need? Do we need, if the revenue is growing 15%, do we need 15% of headcount expansion? Do we need less? Do we need more? So that is a math that you have to do. So it's very important that you understand that this is the organizational goal, and my manpower planning has to be aligned to that organizational goal. If 15% is the growth, then my headcount may have to grow 15%. Or let's say the current utilization of the headcount is only 70%. So 30% I get from increasing the utilization of the existing headcount, and rest I hire from outside. But then I also discovered the bad news that around 20% people are leaving the organization every year. So therefore, out of the 5,000, if 20% are leaving, that means how much? 1,000 people are leaving the organization. So I'm back to 4,000. 4,000, I increase the productivity, but also to keep up with the 15% growth, I look at 15%. So that would be 1,500 people. So I'm losing 1,000. I have to get 1,500. That's 2,500. And if I increase the productivity to an extent, maybe instead of 2,500, I can look at about 2,200 or 2,000. So basically, you have to understand your manpower plan has to be aligned to your organizational goals. Okay, is that making sense?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. So next we come to the selection piece. We just cannot hire anybody. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry is going by, and we say, okay, you are hired. We can't do that, right? When the BPO industry was born in India in 1999 to year 2000, the joke was that trespassers will be recruited. So, but that situation doesn't prevail anymore in any industry. Maybe in AI is just coming up. So maybe that is a situation that if anybody knows AI, they will get hired. But generally, there is a tough selection criteria to get into any company, into any position. So therefore, you have to define your selection criteria. By and large, that is the gist of the talent acquisition process. So if I look at the workflow, so you start with the organizational needs. What is the number of people I need to hire, the requisition management, the intake that I need to do, and how do I want to source them. So there can be many ways of sourcing good candidates. You can look at look at LinkedIn for them. You can look up the job sites. You can, if it's a very senior hire, you can look at specialized consultants like Egon Zender and others who do specialized hiring for companies. So there can be many sources. Of course, the cheapest and the best is internal referrals. People in your company who can refer their friends, family, etc. And if that happens, then chances are that your cost of hire is going to go down because they are your internal people. You can give them an incentive, but chances are that is going to be much lower than what you would be paying on any of the job platforms or to LinkedIn or to a consultant. So you have to look at how do you want to source your hiring. Next, you find the candidates. Let's say, thanks to internal referrals, thanks to consultants, job sites. So you find the candidates. Now, how do you screen them? That's again very important. What kind of assessments do you have in place? Somebody can come and say that, okay, you are hiring for an IT entry level IT position, and you want that person to know Python, to know Visual Basic, to C++, etc., etc. And the person comes and says, yeah, I know all of that. So obviously you have to test him or her, right? You cannot just take word of mouth for a guaranteed capability. So you have to assess the person. You have to understand that whether they really know what is the level of their knowledge, what is their inclination to really do that work. Because remember, I think we had discussed it last time, or maybe not, but when you talk about a skill is something that a person is capable of. If let's say I have the skill of a civil engineer, I have the skill of a computer engineer, I can do programming, etc., etc. But also along with the skill comes the will. Is the person a keen performer? Is the person somebody who's willing to work alongside you, is willing to go the extra mile, is willing to collaborate with colleagues, etc. So you have to gauge all of that during the assessments. It's not just enough for the person to have the skill, but also what is the overall competency. So that is where the word competency comes along, which is bigger than the word skill. The skill is contained in the word competency, but whether you are keen to leverage your skills or not, that is where your attitude comes in. And attitude and skill put together amounts to a competency. So then we start qualifying the candidates. We use the assessments to qualify and find whether they are a right fit for the sort of people we need. And then you have various processes. If it's a campus interview, it could be group discussions, it could be panel interviews, it could be you know uh, various exercises in terms of assessments, or a basket exercise where they will write emails, etc. So there can be multiple exercises in terms of assessing people's capabilities. Finally, you would like to offer people, and like many IT companies and other companies also, where we offer people and we make a letter of intent. We do not really offer them, but we make a letter of intent, which is, I am going to be offering you once you pass this exam and you are out of the campus. And only when they pass the exam and they fulfill the other criteria, then they are given a letter which approves their appointment. And even that, of course, is conditional, because after 6 months, 3 months, whatever the probation period is, only then they get confirmed. Once the employee is on board, then you have to do a background verification. You do have to do all the paperwork. You have to do vendor management, because it's, remember, we had talked about the consultants. They had got you all these people in. Now, of course, they are waiting for their payment. So some of the conditions are tough for the consultants' payments, that the employee should be there in your company for 3 months, 6 months, whatever the conditions are. But basically, that's something that you have to round off and pay to the source of your recruitment. So that's broadly the talent acquisition workflow. So let's look at a maturity model. A maturity model is basically which tells you how this is progressing, how this is maturing. So you have a capability maturity model uh, in IT and in other uh, areas of work also. So first is, many companies, and please, you have to understand that various companies are at various levels. Everybody is not at level 4 and everybody is not at level 1. You may have worked in various companies, and you can think, as we talk about the various levels, think that which company of yours was at this level. Think about which company of yours was at level 2, level 3, level 4, and you can share with me that my ex company was at level 1. Another company I worked for was at level 4. So, the first level is reactive talent recruitment. So, why is it reactive? Recruitment is done locally by HR generalists who are order takers. Positions are posted as needed, minimal hiring compliance, no real process defined. So, it's a happy go lucky situation. I need somebody, I will tell my hiring team, go and get this guy. And they will look at, well, it could be from a consultant, it could be from internal referrals. So they will go and hire. The process is not really well defined. So let's say I need a MIS person. So I will just say, okay, do you know Excel well? Do you know Power BI, or maybe any other tool that is required? And if the person knows that, fine, we will just hire the person. There may not be very close due diligence in terms of the work that I want the person to do. Does this person have the capability? Let's say I want high end reporting to be done on Power BI and Tableau. Okay, so these are two new software. So now the person comes in, he says that he knows these two software, and yes, he also does a demo of this software in front of you, so you know that he knows. But has he developed reports which has been shown to the senior leadership? Has he regularly shared updates with many senior people in the company as you would need him to do? So these are, the finer details that you have to get into. And very often most companies don't get into all that. They just say, okay, tick mark, I know, I need somebody with MIS skills. So MIS skills, the person is on board, that's it. No other questions asked, no other thoughts shared. Next, we move to a standardized operational recruitment. So here, process and technology are standardized across the organization, beginning to establish strong relationship with hiring managers, effective assessments against requirements. So here you have a fairly decent process. Not very good, but okay. So here you begin to establish strong relationships with hiring managers, effective assessments against requirements. And you know that there will be requirements coming up quickly. Particularly, this happens in a organization which is growing fast. They will quickly have many requirements. They will enter into new client engagements where it will be required for them to have people with special skills, special knowledge, awareness of certain software platforms, etc., etc. So if you are on the side of recruitment, you have to be on your toes. You have to ensure that you have all this process standardized. Okay. Next is we move to level 3, and this is a far more sophisticated platform where you have full integration with HR and talent management, strong employment brand, social media campaign, active candidate pipeline, robust talent acquisition program, including diversity and inclusion. So here you are integrated with HR, you are looking for the top talent, you have a good brand. So this is very, very important. Does your company have a good brand? When we talk about a good brand, we generally talk about a brand as in selling a product. But here we are not talking about selling a product. We are talking about selling the credibility of your company, showing the world that you are a credible company, you are a credible employer. You will employ people and you will ensure that they are people who are happy, who are engaged, who are productive. Because you will give them the support that is required. So this is level 3, where you have a good employment brand. So any thoughts which come to your mind with companies which have a very strong employment brand, not a product brand, but an employment brand? People would love to go and work for them. Any thoughts, which any companies which come to your mind?
I think I can say in mining companies especially. So those mining manufacturers like FL Smith or even though Metso as well, these are the good mining brands as a manufacturer. Those are where people are willing to go into it. So they are placed as number one companies into the manufacturing side.
Okay, great.
Mining
Thanks,
equipment. Yeah.
Vikram. Metso, yeah, I've also heard of Metso. Uh, Anybody else would like to share from their industry? Which are the top brands people like to work for? Or maybe you don't work in their industry, but you are aware that these are the top brands people want to work for because of various reasons. Anyone?
I think those Amazon, Microsoft, Google. I think in IT companies, these are the one
Yeah,
every IT person is looking to work with.
absolutely. So, any thoughts why people want to work with these companies?
They have a great working culture and been certified as great working place to work as well. They have a high roots into the organization, especially when it comes to the retaining the people, developing the people, and yeah, overall sustainability perspective.
Hmm.
It can
Yes,
also happen because of great company image and good social presence and awareness about the various things that are done, so that the employee gets probably little attracted towards the organization, and then it becomes a great place to work.
yes, very good. Yes, both Vikram and Nitesh are right that the companies ensure that there are good facilities for the employee, there are good growth opportunities for the employee, employees are taken care of. Even if the work schedule can be demanding, there are ways to ensure that people can take leave during festivals, etc. People are granted X number of leaves and they are encouraged to take them. The facilities in the organization are quite good. Like I used to work in GE and we had um, lunch, which was on the house. We just had to pay 1 rupee, and we used to get a wonderful lunch from Taj caterers. So these are some nice facilities which you get from the company. The company cares for you. The company ensures that you don't just have a job, but you have a career in the company. So you are told that 3 years later, if you do well, this is where you're going to be. 5 years later, if you do well, this is where you're going to be. So you have an entire growth plan charted out in front of you. So those are the companies which are at level 3, which ensure that they have a strong employment brand, which makes it easier for the talent acquisition team to get talent on board. Then social media campaigns. Nowadays, social media is very important, and how you figure in social media is very important. So it's important that you have a good presence in social media and you send out the right messages, because if you're not on social media, or you do not really bother to reach out to people through social media, then everything will go fine, as long as everything is going fine. But moment something happens, let's say there is a employment relations problem in the company. Like, unfortunately, it happened in 2011 or 12 in Maruti, or some mishap happens. So then social media provides a platform for you to put your side across. What are we trying to say? That this is what happened. Okay, so that everybody knows that this is your side of the story. But if you don't have a social media presence, a positive campaign, then people will not know your side of the story. And coming to talent acquisition, this is also a source of hiring people. So when you post the positions that you have, tens of thousands of people are going to see the position that you have, the open position, and they are going to apply for it. So immediately your base is going to go up. So therefore, it's important to have a social media campaign and
Just
have a, yeah, Hitesh, saying something?
just one more thought. Does getting awards and recognitions on the platform, national platform, helps the overall cause?
Yes, it does. You can always keep showing that these are the awards we have received. This is the recognition that we have got, and uh, people will understand. If not, you see, nowadays, because there are so many awards and so many recognition that comes, sometimes people even buy these awards. So people take it with a pinch of salt. But still, I would not say that the credibility is not worth it. There is still some credibility, and if you get awards, then that is a recognition, and that is a positive way that other candidates will look at your brand. Uh,
Yes.
sure. And then you have, because let's say I have a social media presence on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Insta. So a lot of people will be subscribing to your company updates. That gives you a dormant pipeline. Moment you want to activate it, you can by saying that, look, I have these three positions open. Would anybody like to apply? And trust me, the people who are following you on all these social platforms, many of them who find those positions relevant for their skill set, they are going to apply. So this is going to ensure an active candidate pipeline. Of course, apart from social media, you should also ensure that you have good consultants, good referral programs. All of these people will ensure that you have a good candidate pipeline. And ultimately, you have a robust talent acquisition program where you are constantly ensuring that you are a fair employer. You give opportunity to a diverse set of people. And diversity doesn't necessarily just have to mean women. It could be diversity, could be cultural, religious, linguistic, so many different kinds of diversity. So India is a diverse country, and there is no limit to the kind of diversity we can have. So so those are certain things at level 3. Now we move to level 4, which is the optimized talent acquisition uh, platform. So you have strategic business enablers, you have the ability to predict external forces, so you have great forecasting techniques, and you are able to forecast the number of people that will be requiring, which source will give you those people, internal referrals or platforms or consultants or any other sources. So you have a great forecasting method. You are very agile in terms of attracting talent. You invest in new products and services like a applicant tracking system, an ATS, which has a huge database of possible candidates, and uh, also people who may have applied earlier. So you retain their database and you ensure that these people are, you stay in touch with them, and these people are live and still open to the idea of being interviewed by you. And very importantly, last but not the least, recruiter training and building strategic skills. So very often this is a largely ignored part, that your recruiters are not trained very well. So they are not able to do a good job of attracting the right talent, because remember, they are, whatever your company tries to show, that this is how good we are, this is how caring we are, this is how many facilities we offer to our employees. All that is good, but the first connect that you will have with a candidate is through your recruiter. So if your recruiter is not well trained, if your recruiter is not articulate, if the recruiter is not able to share the proposition of why your company is a good company, then you would not be able to attract good talent. So therefore, companies which are at level 4, they also ensure that their recruiters are thoroughly trained and they are able to attract talent very quickly. They are like good salesmen. So good salesmen are always able to sell their products very quickly.
I just
Similarly, yeah, yeah, Vikram.
I just want to quickly share the practices that what we were doing into this one. So
Sure.
we, I think it's a year back, we developed a recruiter onboarding program as well
Okay.
to train our recruiter across the India so
Mm-hmm.
that they can support us into filling the strategic position that we were looking for, the engineering center that we were establishing in Ahmedabad. So I think that helped a very lot because the confidence, I was actually designing the training program for them and the
Oh, very
onboarding
good.
part, and they were
Mm-hmm.
really helpful when I meet with them. They said like if this could have been happened a 6 month before, then we might able to fulfill the position very soon as well, because thus now we are getting a better perspective what exactly Metso is doing, what kind of product do you sell, and then initial level of filtration it is easier for us to do. So that really helped. Yeah, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. So, yeah, so actually, I was also working in a company where now that you mentioned this, so I suddenly remembered. I was working in a company where we were hiring a lot of people. We were hiring, you know, thousands of people. It was BPO and a KPO. So somewhere our CEO from some source heard that we don't treat our candidates well. When once they get hired, they are treated well, but before they get hired, they are not treated well. And as a result, what happens is they go and tell lots of people in the market that this company doesn't treat the candidates very well. The candidates come in the morning and they are not even asked to sit down somewhere. They wait since morning. They don't have access to toilet or water and things like that. And then they don't know, there is no clarity in terms of when they are going to be interviewed, how many rounds of interview there will be, so and so forth. So this is the feedback that we had got, and I was actually asked to develop a project where we would be able to redress all the concerns of candidates. Whether they were selected or not selected did not matter. What mattered was we should give them a good experience if they come to our premises, or even if they log into our website and get interviewed virtually. So there was a very large project where part of the project was to train our recruiters that you have to speak to a candidate with a lot of respect. Just because they are candidates, they're looking for a job, doesn't mean that gives us the right to disrespect them. Next, you have to be trained to look out for the skills that we are looking for: good communication skills, ability to think on their feet, ability to troubleshoot on the system. So these are some of the skills. Of course, the job descriptions for various roles were different, but I'm saying broadly, they were trained to look out for such skills. And of course, there were formal assessments also. So there was a intense training that happened for the recruiter. We also invested in chairs, waiting rooms, tickers like you have in the bank, where moment you enter, you get a number, and then your number keeps flashing on the electronic board on top, where you see whether you are being called or not. Then snacks, tea, coffee being available to the candidates. So all of that was organized, and when I started the project, the candidate satisfaction percentage was 38. Only 38% of the candidates said that they were satisfied with the way they were handled by this company. When this project ended about 6 months later, the satisfaction went up to about 72%. So that is the dramatic change that we were able to bring about. And as a result of this project, people would come, people would go and tell their friends that while they may not have got the job, the recruiter was so polite. Recruiter explained, what went well, what could have been better, and the recruiter also assured me that you are now in the database, and 6 months later we will reach out to you again. And should there be another opportunity, we will definitely screen your candidature as well. So it was a win-win, and we were able to attract better talent as a result of this project. So those are the maturity models of the four levels of talent acquisition. So let's keep moving. So some of the metrics that you have. So key recruitment metrics is the process is recruitment plan, the talent search, screening and shortlisting, and the interviewing, and finally the evaluation, selection, and employment offer. So some of the key metrics are your time to fill. So any thoughts on what is time to fill?
Time to fill in
I
the vacancy, is it?
Yeah.
How much is the
Yes.
total time you're taking to fill a job, right? From selecting the people to put them on onboarding.
exactly.
Yes. Yes. From the time this requisition is raised to the person to the time the person joins this position. So that is your time to fill. And this is a very important metric for some organizations, particularly if you're a project based organization. So if you are a client facing project based organization, then because your billing to the client starts once the project gets started. But if you don't have the right people and you are not able to meet the time to fill criteria, then you are going to face a revenue loss as well. Not only a goodwill loss, but also a revenue loss, because your billable employees are not there available for you to bill them to the client. So therefore, your time to fill is a very critical metric in some industries. In some industries, it may not be an absolutely critical metric, but still it is important because you have a certain target of making certain people productive. And if you do not meet that number, if you do not meet the timeline, there is going to be a loss to the organization. Next is time to hire. How much time do you need to hire somebody? Okay. So time to fill is the overall time from the requisition raising to the person getting onboarded. Time to hire is the in between process. When you get the requisition, you raise the indent either to your consultants or other sources of hiring, and then the closing of a rollout. Source of the hire, that is again very important, and that has a cost implication. What source are you using? So as I discussed, there are different kinds of sources, and the cheapest is internal referrals. The most expensive is consultants. So if you do a mix and match, your cost is going to be a kind of addition and deletion of whatever sources you're using and the number of hires you are getting from each source. If you use too much of consultants, then it's going to be very expensive. If if it is a lot of internal referrals, it's going to be quite economical. So your source of hiring makes a difference. Then, very importantly, you look at early attrition. What is your first year attrition? It is also called baby attrition. Uh, any thoughts on why this is important?
Infant attrition actually counts for the loss that the organization is making from right from the hiring process till the exit to a
Yeah,
certain extent. And actually, it tarnishes the image of the organization as a whole.
And I yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, very good. So, so basically, yeah. Sorry, Vikram, you're saying something?
No, I think I mean, like it's a one of the, I would say that quality KPI that every recruiter wants to monitor. And from evaluating from the long-term perspective for the organization, I think it is very, very much needed.
Yes, absolutely. So, see, it varies. The cost of hiring varies, but the cost of hiring is actually quite large because you have the sourcing cost, then you have people who are onboarded, so you have on the onboarding cost, then nobody's productive immediately. People become productive, let's say 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, and during this your initial days you have training. Depending on the industry, the intensity of the training varies, but point is that you will be investing X amount of money in the training. So the hiring cost, onboarding cost, training cost, productivity loss, opportunity cost, all of that, if it gets added up, it amounts to a substantial sum. And also, many studies have shown, particularly for very senior level employees, when you are hiring them, that the cost of hiring is so high, it's almost equivalent to their annual compensation. And when you lose these people in the first year itself, then it's a significant loss to the company. So therefore, early attrition is a no-no. And as Hitesh also said rightly, that it also gives your company a bad reputation. That means something did not work out if the employee leaves, if it's a voluntary attrition. Something did not work out, the employee was unhappy and leaves the company. And unfortunately, as they say in marketing, that a happy customer shares a word of mouth, a positive word of mouth with 3 people. An unhappy customer shares negative word of mouth with 9 people. So it's 3 times the number of people that positive news goes. So the unhappy employee will go and tell 9 people outside. And the news will, nowadays you have Glassdoor and so many other platforms. So the news will spread that this company is not really the go-to company because of XYZ reason. So therefore, that will earn you a bad name in the market. Next is the quality of hire, and that's what talent management is all about. That your hire needs to be among the top performers, needs to be among the 20% top performers who will deliver 80% of the revenue of the company in the future. So that is the quality of hire that you need to get. Maybe the quality of hire will be productive 3 or 4 months down the line. But once the hire is productive, then the quality has to come out. It has to reflect that here is a excellent quality of hire who's joined the organization. And last but not the least, the hiring manager satisfaction. The person who raised the requisition could be a finance manager, could be a HR manager, could be an operations manager, could be an administration manager, whoever raised that requisition. The HR, the talent acquisition team gave this candidate to that person. Is that person satisfied by the timeline, by the quality of hire, by the entire process that was followed? So some talent acquisition teams also take an internal VOC. I don't know if in your organization you do that, but I've worked in an organization where annually they would take a VOC. If anybody had raised a requisition during the year, at the end of the year, they would send out a survey to them that how satisfied are you with our services. It was all internal, nothing external, but still they would uh, take feedback and then share the feedback across the organization. So these are some of the recruitment metrics. Any thoughts so far, anyone? Okay, if not, we'll move on.
What is VOC, you said?
VOC. VOC is generally voice of customer. Voice of customer. Okay,
Thank you.
sure. So now these are some other important metrics, again, to do with talent acquisition. One is candidate job satisfaction. So is the candidate happy with the job that they are doing? This is again important because typically, HR uh, tries to get the best candidate and gives a certain picture to the candidate that this is what the job is all about. In case you want a 2-minute break, we can do that. Otherwise, I can continue. Let me know. I got a ping for a minute break. So if anybody wants a break, we can take a 2-minute break and then come back.
Fine for me.
Okay, so 2 minutes and we are back. Okay. Okay, can we start?
Yeah, so
Okay, cool. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it is
yes.
visible.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, so candidate job satisfaction. This is why it's important. You know, there is a joke which there was this man who dies, and so he's met by an angel, and the person kind of shows him around that I will show you heaven and hell, and then you can decide which one you want to go to. So he's first taken to a place where everybody is sipping wine and they're playing golf and watching movies and kind of enjoying themselves. Then he's told that, okay, now this is hell. He said, really, this is hell? you know I never thought hell looks like this. I thought hell is where people are burning and crying and it's like terrible. He said, no, no, this is hell. So he said, oh wow, okay, not bad. So now let me show you heaven. So he goes to see heaven, and here he sees that everybody is kind of wearing white and smiling and smelling roses, and they're just kind of smiling and eating and just relaxing and doing nothing, no fun, just kind of being nice. So now he's asked that, okay, now where do you want to go, heaven or hell? So he says, look, I used to have this picture of hell that it was really horrible place, and heaven is so nice, but heaven is so boring. Nothing is happening over here. So I think on close consideration, I will opt for hell. I can play golf and watch movies and drink wine and have so much fun. So people say, okay, so you chose hell, so he goes to hell. But now when he goes to hell, he sees that people are kind of crying and howling and they are getting beaten up. And he says, what the hell happened? I was given the impression that hell is everybody's playing golf and having wine and watching movies, and here you are beating up people. People are screaming. This is so different from what I was shown. So the angels, oh, that must have been the HR guy who showed you. You know, so that's the reputation that a hiring person has. That so it's a joke, of course, but very often they show you a very rosy picture, and when they show you a rosy picture and you join the organization having seen that rosy picture, you discover the organization is not really the way it was projected to you, and you become unhappy. And that is where your early attrition happens. You want to leave the organization as soon as you get another job. So candidate job satisfaction, therefore, is an important metric. It shows whether your talent acquisition process is robust or not. Because if it is robust, you are communicating the truth to the candidates. And once the candidate joins, the candidate finds that whatever was he told to him or her is accurate and they are in the right place as it was projected to them. So therefore, the candidate job satisfaction will be fairly high. But if a wrong picture was presented, they were hired showing a wrong picture, and they have joined the organization now, they discover that it was all wrong. They left their previous company, they are unhappy, and then that is where the unhappiness starts. And then, of course, it can be further reinforced if the job is not to their liking or the way it was projected. The environment is not the way it was shown to be. The manager is not responsive. So, all that can lead to candidate job dissatisfaction. So, therefore, this is an important metric. You can survey people who have joined in the first quarter, second quarter, end of 12 months, and see, are they happy with, are they satisfied with the job that they've joined? Is it as per their expectations? Is it as per the picture that was given to them? Okay, so so that is an important metric which is a reflection on your process. Next is applicants per opening. So if you float an opening on a website, on LinkedIn, or on your job site, etc., how many people are applying for your open positions? If the number is very large, then you can rest assured that you have a good brand equity. People see you as a good organization. People would like to work for you. The offer terms that the terms that you're offering, people kind of find that appreciable. But of course, you should also look at the quality of applicants. That will also tell you not just the applicants per number per se, but also the quality of the applicants. If they are people who have not been working for the last 5 years and they are applying, not the qualified people that you're looking for, then again, that is a reason for worry. So you should be concerned about that. Next is your selection ratio. How many people are applying and how many people are getting selected. So that is again very important, and we must remember that there are many hurdles in between. People will get uh, shortlisted, people will get called, people will clear one round, people will clear second round, etc., etc. So depending also on your position, depending on the industry, depending on your brand equity, what is the difficulty level of getting through to a position in your company. So your selection ratio will give you a good insight into that. Then cost per hire. How much cost are you incurring per hiring? And you can do an average of all the sources that you're using to hire that person. Your offer to acceptance ratio. That is again a very, very important insight. What does that tell you? Any thoughts? Any thoughts? What does your offer acceptance ratio tell you about your
I
company?
think it shows the reputation of the organization, that how people are attracted towards the offer which has been given, and then how reputed the organization is.
Yes, good, Vikram. So broadly, that is right. But also, maybe sometimes what happens is if you go closer to the offer, the organization is good, but the offer is not. Or that position or that skill set is in huge demand. For example, I used to work in IBM, and IBM is a great brand to work for. But when we were looking for a particular software. At that time, that software was in huge demand. So we could not get people out from even smaller companies because our range, the salary range that we were offering, was not very good as compared to what was available in the market. So therefore, uh, in that particular skill set, our offer acceptance rate was low. But broadly, you're right that if you have a good reputation, it will show in the offer acceptance rate. And if you do not offer good packages, if you do not have a good brand to offer, then maybe you will offer people use that offer and get a better bargain for themselves with their existing company or some other company. Next is percentage of open positions. Now, what does that say about your company? What percentage is high percentage of open positions a good position to be in or not a good position?
Sir, can you bring your mic closer to your mouth? The voice
Yeah,
is
sure.
breaking down.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
Is it better now?
It's better now.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, percentage of open positions. What does that say about your organization or about your department, talent acquisition department? What does that say if you have a very high percentage of open positions?
That signals due to bad reputation or bad management or bad experience employees has left, and that information has spread in the market. That is why nobody is interested to join in that particular organization.
Yes,
That could
Najmul.
be a one reason.
Yes, Nazmul, you're right. So that does not reflect very well on your company's talent acquisition capability. It shows. Yeah, is somebody saying something? Yeah, it does not reflect very well. And also, very importantly, remember that as I was saying, that we can have good offices, we can have great real estate, we can have great products, but people are critical. Otherwise, the whole office is going to come to a standstill. So, if your open positions are very high and you are not able to fill these positions quickly, then that is a very poor reflection on your talent acquisition skills and also a poor reflection on your ability to attract good talent. So this is something which should not be allowed to remain open and they should be closed ASAP. Next is the candidate experience. So I spoke about the candidate experience earlier. Sometimes companies just focus on the people who get offered as a candidate who gets selected, but it's very important to ensure, particularly if you are a company which hires in large numbers, if you are a, let's say, IT company, a civil engineering company, or a BPO or a KPO, or a HRO. So any company which hires in very large numbers, even banking organizations, they should be very careful about the candidate experience. The candidate should not go with a negative experience or a negative perception. That will limit the number of candidates who are going to apply for your positions later on. So you have to create a good brand image in the job market, and that will only happen if the candidate experience is good. So that is important. Application completion rate. So very often what happens is you float your openings on job sites on various platforms, and you see that a lot of people are applying for your position, but somehow they put in the initial data, name, address, phone number, etc., and then they don't complete the entire form. So it could have many implications. One is that you have a very complicated hiring process. The form is very complicated, very long, and it is frustrating the candidate. They are not filling up the forms. Next could be also that people kind of lose interest when they find more details that you have this or that condition, and people are not able to fulfill the condition. So you need to go inside and understand why people are not filling up the forms, particularly where they start filling up and they don't complete the application form. Nowadays people use AI to fill all the boxes when people upload their CV, but very often that is not very accurate. I think AI is still at a infancy, so that is not accurate, and that gets filled but only partially, not substantially. So therefore your ACR is a good index of what is how complex is your application process. The simpler it is, the chances are the better the number of candidates you will get, which you can shortlist. Then your recruitment funnel effectiveness. How will you judge whether it's effective or not?
The ratio.
Any
It
thoughts?
defines by the ratio.
Sorry?
Defines by the ratio. How many people you've taken and what is the kind of conversion you're getting out of them, and what is the kind of quality you're getting out of them.
Yeah.
That defines the effectiveness, the quality.
Yeah. So you may have X number of people in your funnel, and eventually, when a position opens up, so you recruit some of them, and how responsive they are to the opportunity that you offer, how quickly they can join, and how good they are as employees. All of that will tell you that your funnel is working or not working. Okay. So ideally, you should have a funnel ready all the time. You should not wait for when a hiring mandate is going to come and then I'm going to create the funnel. Funnel is created round the clock, but you mobilize the funnel as and when a requirement comes in. So next is your sourcing channel
In fact, your
effectiveness.
ATS
You can
also
keep
should
looking at in terms of cost, in terms of sorry, Ricky.
I said, in fact, your ATS also defines your effectiveness.
Hmm.
I've
Yeah.
seen people are absolutely blindfoldedly applying ATS to the recruitment process, but they actually cannot define. Now, if you look at the people you take through the consultant and people you take through ATS,
Hmm.
there's a difference because a consultant will refine, will ask a lot of
Yeah.
things, which ATS may not, because ATS is a process only,
Right.
and it
Absolutely. So
outwardly rejects.
ATS definitely gives. Yes, Ricky, go ahead.
So ATS outwardly rejects people, and because the criteria is there, and it's just a software, so it cannot take people. You cannot understand people. So understanding is always missing, which a
Hmm.
consultant can do very well.
Right.
Now, what we do is for senior positions, we never take it through ATS and computer process. We take it through consultants. But when you talk about junior positions where we know the funnel is quite big and you have to take some people and you can miss on something. So ATS can work because you don't want to spend time. So that depends on how you're actually doing it. So
Yeah, absolutely. So for senior level positions, you may not want to depend on ATS. And like Ricky is saying, unfortunately, there is a blind dependence on ATS. So when you blindly depend on a machine, then there are consequences. So ideally, for senior level positions, consultants are better because they do a certain filtering, which ATS may or may not be able to do. But I'm told nowadays there are more advanced ATSs with AI layers, etc. So I'm not familiar with that. However, yes, ATS can be made more effective. Currently, the ones that I have seen, they are more of a effective database rather than a screening system.
with the time, things will get refined. So we are
Yeah.
hoping that AI will do. Right now, even AI is a question at times.
Definitely, I agree with
With the coming time, it will be better. So we are
you. Yeah.
expecting that that's going to be the human intelligence. Let's see.
Yep. Great. Next is your sourcing channel cost. So we are aware that different channels have a different cost. So consultants definitely have the highest cost as compared to the other channels. And depending on how much budget you have, the volume of hiring that you wish to do, the quality of hiring that you wish to do, the breakup between senior, mid-level, junior positions that you have. So all of that will decide your budget. And some thumb rules are that your consultants are going to be the most expensive, and internal referrals are going to be the least expensive. So these are certain norms and guidelines that you can use. But most companies, they do their budgeting based on the projected hiring that they're going to be doing, what channels they're going to be using, across how much time, what are the numbers, etc. And you have to stay within that budget. So, but definitely one has to keep monitoring it closely. Then cost of getting optimum level of productivity. So here, not only the hiring piece, but also your effective onboarding and training come into play. And are you able to effectively onboard them, train them? So we will talk more about onboarding later, but onboarding is also very critical, because there is a book by a person called Michael Watkins, and you can look it up. It's called The First 90 Days. So how you onboard people directly makes an impact on their productivity, their longevity with the organization, how long they stay, what is the kind of association they develop with the organization. So all of that can be greatly influenced by how they are handled in the first 90 days. And then comes the training part, which is depending from industry to industry. Training sometimes in IT industry and BPO, the training is very intensive, because people learn new products, new processes, new software, while in other industries, people already come with that training. For example, if I'm in the finance industry, then I will already have the knowledge of accounting practices, financial practices, etc. Of course, there can be tweaks in terms of from a FMCG to the banking company, a banking company to a mining company. So there will be tweaks, there will be differences in terms of how assets are defined, how costs are calculated, how controllership is done, etc. But broadly, people have a good set of practices already that they have learned, and they just need to channelize those practices. So overall, your cost of getting optimum productivity level depends on all of this, and getting this wrong can have serious consequences. Next is your time to productivity. So time to productivity is also similar to the previous metric. How quickly people are becoming productive. First of all, you have to baseline what is optimal productivity. What is it, the productivity that you expect from a regular employee? And how much time is a new recruit taking to reach to that level of productivity? So, it in manufacturing, it becomes very clear. But in terms of services, it's not so easy to pin down what is optimal productivity, what is a baseline productivity. But you can still try. For example, in sales, it can be quite clear what is the baseline productivity that you expect from a salesperson, and what is the optimal productivity that you would expect, depending on industry averages, etc. So these are some key metrics. Any questions, any thoughts on these metrics? Okay, if not, I will move on. So let's look at a video. I think we have been doing a lot of talking. So let's look at a video. In case you find problems with the audio, just let me know.
Company culture is having a moment. Since the pandemic, the when, where, and why of work has completely changed, and company culture has had to adjust along with it. But this isn't the first time it's undergone a shift. Let's begin in the 1950s. Workplace culture was ruled by strict hierarchies. Only the bosses, typically men, occupied the corner offices. keeping a watchful eye on workers to ensure they were productive. And remember the women who joined the workforce during World War II? They were mostly asked to return home, unless the position they filled was entry level. Fast forward to the 1970s. Company culture became less formal. Men wore their hair longer, and women traded in their skirts for pants. More women joined the workforce around the world and took on management roles, which brings us to the 1990s. Job security diminished as corporate raiders took over businesses and slashed the workforce. Office spaces were transformed into cubicle farms. Company loyalty declined. Then, in the mid-2000s, tech startups began to disrupt the business world and company culture trends. Cubicles gave way to open floor plans, foosball tables, and futuristic futons. Employers offered endless perks to keep employees in the office. The workplace became fun, but it also turned into a place you never left. The impact on employee work-life balance led us to where we are today, the 2020s, an era of human-focused company culture. In the wake of the pandemic, workers are asking what matters most to them, and discovering the answer is the chance to work when, where, and how they want. That means a work culture defined by flexibility, employee well-being, and diversity and inclusion. And employees are willing to move on if the culture isn't the right fit. We call this shift the Great Reshuffle. Companies that want to succeed today must build company cultures that put their employees first.
So, any thoughts on the video? Agree, disagree?
Sir, in my organization, I can agree with this video that work
Okay.
culture has evolved over the time,
Mhm.
and majority of the restriction has been removed based, on the dress code and the working environment, the table, chair, and everything. In our head office at Bangalore, the video which was just shown,
Mhm.
the environment is almost similar.
Okay.
People who get placement in our head office, they feel like they are not in a company, they are in a heaven. From starting from breakfast to lunch, everything is there, even with evening snacks, with buffet system. And along with that, in every floor, they have a play zone where they can play varieties of games. Every floor they have a tea, coffee, snacks, green tea, varieties of teas, snacks all day ready. So yeah,
So,
it has
Naj-
evolved, and with this type of environment, we as an employee do not feel like stress.
so Najmul, which organization do you work for?
Right now, I am in Xiaomi, but I
Okay.
am placed in a regional office. I mean, in northeast area, Guwahati
Okay.
based out.
Okay. Okay, great. So, anybody wants to join Shamu, please reach out to Najmul. So, you can have tea, coffee, food on the house, and also keep enjoying yourself. So, that's that is how it is nowadays. That if you talk about Google, also, I think they have a campus in Hyderabad where it is similar, and their main office in the US is also very similar. There are videos on YouTube, you can look it up. Uh, that employees are the employee facilities are taken very seriously. Employees are also given amenities like sabbaticals, breaks, etc. Also, the demands on the employee are also very high. So it's both ways. A tough environment, but also supportive environment. So these are some companies which are like that. Not every company is like this. Now, some latest trends that are going on in sourcing. Now we have entered the age of remote work. Every HR person has to kind of deal with the situation that people don't want to come to office. They want to work from home, work virtually, or work from anywhere. So, I know a company where I know a person, she's the hiring manager, and she says that, moment I tell people that our office is only one day working from home, 4 days working from office, immediately a lot of candidates stop being interested. They say, no, sorry, can't come to office, point blank. So these are trends you have to deal with. Social media has become a very powerful source of recruitment. That is a reality, and we have to leverage social media and not ignore it. You have AI, like Ricky said, AI is supposed to kind of deliver the numbers. AI is supposed to bring in more intelligence, sharper focus, but that is still work in progress. But let's see how it goes. Not lot of contract based hiring. You have something called the gig economy, which is particularly opened up after COVID. So a lot of work which earlier used to get done by um, regular employees, full-time employees, are now being done by contractors. So your talent strategy will also change, because now some of the key things are being developed by contractors and not by employees. So how do you ensure that those contractors deliver value, they stay with the organization, they support you also when the chips are down, when you are going through a difficult phase, or they help you with some maybe difficult clients. So because the loyalty that you could have expected from a on-roll employee may not be expected from a person who's a contractor. Then diversity and inclusion. So we saw in the video that earlier most of the senior roles were held by white men in the US, similarly by men in India. But today you have to have a very diverse workforce. Employee well-being is a critical criteria now, and many people consider whether well-being is an important focus area for the organization they are about to join. If not, they may not join. Work-life balance facilitation. This is again become very important. People want a work-life balance, particularly those who are at mid or senior level, and unfortunately or fortunately, even at an entry level, people are expecting work-life balance nowadays. So you have to deal with that. Gen Z has a different set of expectations. So all HR managers are being educated on the expectations that the new set of employees will have. Similarly, employer and brand candidate experience, we talked about that. A lot of HR work, non-core work is getting outsourced, such as payroll management. So if that happens, then this is something that you have to deal with, because earlier when they were in-house, it was easier, but when it is outsourced, it is less easy. But still you have to work around it so that that continues to be supportive and supports you. Virtual and augmented reality, these are new technologies which allow you to screen people better, connect with people better. So you have VR platforms which are almost kind of real, and definitely they give you a greater connect with candidates. Remote onboarding and gamifications, these are some other trends that are there. So nowadays, technology has kind of entered every phase of our life, and so goes for talent acquisition. Technology is playing a very critical role. So we have to integrate technology in our processes and ensure that we are able to deliver value to our organization from a talent acquisition perspective. So, so with that, we come to a close for today's session. Any thoughts, observations?
Can you throw more light on gamification?
So, Hitesh, gamification, we use traditionally we do lot of assessments, and assessments tell us about the quality of the candidate. But now with gamification, you can also put them through a different kind of assessment. You can give them a situation and see whether they come out on top. What happens is typically when people play games, people are in a different psychological state. Whether a person may be very quiet, may be very submissive, but suddenly when the person is put in a game situation, you will see different aspects of the personality which you would not have seen otherwise. So gamification kind of gives you an advantage of assessing people from a different direction, different perspective, and gives you insights into a candidate which you may not have got otherwise.
Is similar to simulations and all?
Yeah, similar to simulations. So because a simulation is a very strong assessment. If they know the job, for example, if I'm assessing somebody to be a pilot, so if I put him in a simulation, then how well he's able to work his way through will give me an insight into. He can come and tell me I have 500 hours of flying experience, I have 600, 1000, whatever. But when you are putting him through a simulation, you will see how much of an expert the person is. And if the person is genuinely an expert, then he will be able to convince you right then and there. So yes, it is similar to simulations. Sure, thanks. Anybody else? Any other thoughts before we close? Okay, if not, then we will close for the day. I hope you found the session interesting. I think the last session of the day and Sunday is getting over. Thank you, Nazbul. Thank you, Hitesh. So great interacting with all of you. Have a great week ahead, and we will talk to each other again.